Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the Wake Up Podcast with your host, me, Aisha.
And me, Lucy.
And today we have a very special guest. We have
Sarah.
And we're
Who
gonna
is
do
Sarah, though? Sarah's my friend, who has something she's going to talk about with us today and her experiences of that. So it's going to be fun. We wanted to try something different on the podcast. So we have some interviews lined up with various people we know that have been or done some very interesting things. So we thought we could talk about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so today we're kind of going to talk about traveling and different cultures and different experiences, and also traveling when COVID-19 is happening and how that works. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So tell us a bit about yourself, Sarah. Who are you? What you doing? What's popping? What's good?
Who am I? That's a never-ending question.
Right.
Well, I'm just a casual French girl who's studying English and Korean.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm currently taking 2 courses at university. So I'm doing 2 type of studies that are linked, but also very different from one another.
Yeah.
And I went outside of my studies, but during my uni time, I went abroad for a year, and today I just heard that I will go back.
Okay, so where did you go? So where did you travel to?
I went to South Korea. I went to Seoul.
Very nice. Seoul is the capital.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it, the capital? Imagine if that was wrong. Yo, you know what? The other day, right? Okay, let me just say something. Yeah, I was talking to someone from Austria, and England's a country.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought the UK was a country. The UK is an island. But England is England, Wales, and Scotland are countries, but the United Kingdom is not a country.
So,
did you know that,
wait,
Aisha?
No.
Wait, I studied that.
Yeah, so England, Scotland, and Wales.
I think technically it is a country.
No, but it's not though. I googled it. The United Kingdom is a country. No, it's not though, is it?
As any other.
The United Kingdom is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Is an island nation. We're a nation. We're a nation, not a country. The United Kingdom is a nation, not a country, which makes sense because Northern Ireland is a part of the United Kingdom, but it's not attached to us. So we're a nation, not a country.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. I just thought that was a bit mad, like I thought England was not a country because
No, anyway, it is. Whatever.
It's just confusing, isn't it? We're a nation. United Kingdom is a nation.
But then what about Great Britain as well? Not to long this out.
Great Britain and the United Kingdom is the same thing.
No, surely not. I thought that.
Oh, shut your mouth. Great Britain is a what? Hang on. Great Britain. No, it's the same. Great Britain is an island in the North Atlantic Ocean.
Oh my god.
UK is the country code. I don't know what that means. Okay, anyway, it's just a bit mad, and I needed to share that information. How is someone from Austria going to tell me about British history and facts? Like what? That's mad. Okay, mad. Sorry. You went to South Korea, which is great. That's fun. Love that. So what made you want to go to South Korea? Why was that the place that you wanted to visit and study as well?
Actually, there was no reason. I think that's what is mad about it, is that everyone is asking me why South Korea, and I'm like, I don't know, it just kind of placed itself there, because like obviously, well, you know, you're my friend, we know that about each other. I am a BTS fan. But
Guys,
um so I had an interest like in the music, and I've always kind of been drawn to um Asian countries. Like I like what is there, and I've always find it quite attracting. And I needed like a pause in my studies. Like I didn't know where I was going. I was seeing no point in what I was doing, and I was like, I need to do something for myself. And I am very interested in languages because I would like to work with that in the future. And I was like, you need to go somewhere that will be out of your comfort zone and where you will have to challenge yourself in some way. And that the best way to do that is to take away the language. Because I speak English very well. I speak French as well. I speak a little German. But I was like, if you go to a country where you can speak English just like that, it's going to be too easy. There will be no hardships. So I was like, you listen to K-pop, you kind of want to understand what you're listening to, and you really like those artists and you like what they are bringing. So I was curious about the culture and how people were living and their way of thinking and seeing the world. And I was like, just go there. I'm not sure that I knew where it was on the map. I was just like, I'm going to I'm going there. And yeah, there was no reason.
I suppose that's quite nice though, the idea of like challenging yourself and not going somewhere where people speak English, or like English is like quite a well-known second language. Although I say that, I thought when I went to France that like lots of people would speak English, and I was very mistaken that they do not speak a lot of English. I was really shocked when I went to Paris, but I did prepare with you a little bit when I went, and people appreciated that. But French people really have no time for English people, though. That's so funny.
No, they do not.
They hate British people.
No, they don't. But like,
they do in Paris. Come on, people in
Paris,
Paris hate. Yeah.
I mean, Paris is like everyone is making a huge deal out of it, but it's the worst place to go in France when you want to experience France. I don't think that Paris is the best place to go to. That's my opinion as a French person. But
That's quite interesting. Would you say like because it's the capital, like it's quite touristy, so there's not much French culture there because there's loads of people from everywhere, or
I wouldn't say that, but I think that French people that live in Paris have this tendency, this tendency of thinking that they are really above everyone if they are making some money, and they are like, yeah, I'm a Parisian and stuff. And it's like a small community, but that you can never enter if you come from outside of there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just
where you live, really beautiful. I've seen photos. You live like with mountains and stuff. It's so beautiful. It's really lovely. I mean, you have an experience of going to France, don't you, Aisha? I mean, your what would you? I don't know what the right word is. Your heritage is French speaking. So
yes, yeah. There's a lot of French.
When we met, we spoke a little French.
Yeah.
I spoke like 2 words. I was like flexing the 2 words that I knew. I was like, bonjour. Yeah. I'm kind of familiar with French. I have a lot of family in France. So yeah, I've been to like Nantes and Marseille and stuff, and that's really nice. But I definitely agree with what you said earlier about like when you go to Korea, you're surrounded by the language. There's no English that will force you to learn. That's how I kind of feel when I go to France and I be with family. But then as soon as I come home, I forget everything. Just know my So yeah.
I feel like that's really common though. Like I feel like the best way to experience a language is to be put in the country, because you're not just, I feel like when you learn it in your own country, you learn it the way that they teach, and it's very like structured. But when you meet the people speak differently to how you're like forced to learn. So like when we learn French in the UK, it's so much different than how like French people actually would formulate sentences and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So I think in that way it's nice because you learn it much more authentically.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
but well, from a French perspective, I think it's best to learn it like the right way and then butcher it, than to learn from the butchered version of French and then not knowing how to handle everything else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I get what you mean.
Yeah, I just mean like because I know people that family friends, they went and lived in France and they like picked it up so much better, and easier. And also you because you're surrounded by the language, you pick up you'll recognize words and stuff like oh, I've heard that. And when you start hearing it, you start remembering things, and I think it's better that way.
It's faster. And like, because ultimately what you will need in a language is to speak. Like hearing and speaking is the thing that you will need the most. And like, of course you will need everything that is written and to read correctly, but what is essential in understanding one another when it comes to communicating is just producing and receiving. And producing is always like, as when you are speaking your own language that you are speaking to a foreigner, you are not expecting the level to be at a native level. You are always like considerate of the level that they are going to exhibit. But when you are learning the language, when you are making a mistake, you feel like a fool. You're like, oh my God, why am I talking like this? I sound like a 3-year-old.
It's cute though. So what was it like traveling to South Korea not knowing? I don't think you knew like anything at all really. So how was it like not just going in thinking that, but also like how was the literal travel, because it is a long journey?
Yes. Well, I went completely blind. Really, like, I had no real idea of what Seoul was looking like. I had no idea about anything. I just went blind. I didn't want any expectations and for them to be ruined. And I was like, if you go from nothing, you can only be pleased. So I went there with a friend that I met online as well. We knew each other, but we didn't really know each other. So that was like the best pairing because we had to learn how to live with each other as we were traveling together. And we met in Paris, and then we went to China, and then from China we went to Seoul. It was very long.
Especially, how many hours is the flight?
It's 11, 12 hours, sometimes a little bit more. It depends if you have a layover or not. And Caroline was just sleeping so well. And I was here like...
I'm like that.
And it was so long because without the internet and everything, and you don't know where you are going. I didn't know where I was going. So I was just like, not overthinking, but I was like, I could feel the adrenaline kick in. It was exciting. But then once you land and that you have, well, thankfully for us, we had one of Caroline's friends that took us in for the first night. So we just had to go to her city, and then they came to pick us up and they handled everything. They got us dinner and everything.
Do you remember what your first meal was?
We went to the barbecue, and the father, he wanted us to try everything.
Oh, that's so cute.
We had, because during the flight you have several meals, right? And they are trying to fit the pattern in which you will go to. So we had like 4 times, and I wasn't really hungry because it was like the middle of the night back home. that was just like, let's go get barbecue. And I was like, yeah, finally Korean barbecue. I've never, like, in France you can never find, where I live you can't find traditional ones. And so I was loving it, but then I got full so fast. And then he orders something else, and then something else, and then something else. And I was like, I cannot. And I felt like it was so rude. But it was,
I feel like that's a very Korean thing though. Like, especially like when you pour each other's drinks, it's very like, it's very friendly, like the attitude, especially around food, I think.
yeah.
Like, you always do things for each other, you pour things for each other, you do the meats for each other. I feel like that's like really traditional there.
I think it's what I enjoyed the most, because compared to friends, everyone, like, you, when there is a family dinner, you can have that dish that everyone is gonna have their share of. But usually it's like kind of rare when you go to the restaurant. Each person has their plate, and it can be very different from a person to another. But in Korea, they have this culture in which you are sharing the everything, and it's really nice. I really enjoyed that.
Did you find it easy or hard? And I feel like I know what your answer will be, to fit into the culture there. Like, did you find it quite shocking, or how was that experience? Because obviously I feel like the culture between France and Korea are very different.
They are very different, but they are very friendly to one another. I think they complete each other on a lot of gray areas. I think it's kind of balancing. I think you will hear a lot of foreigners that went to Korea say that there was a culture shock. For me, I never felt it. The second that I arrived there, it felt like home. And like, I cannot explain how I felt, because I traveled to England, I traveled to other places for like holidays with the family and everything. And I felt like I had this sense of home before. But when I arrived to Korea, I was like, this is where I need to be. And it wasn't hard, at least not to me, to fit in. I didn't feel like there was a difficulty. It was more in the, how do you explain that? Like, in the codes, like the society codes, you need to learn them, or to really observe how it works, so that you can adapt and not be rude in some kind of way. Like, you pick up on stuff really fast. You see how they handle customer and seller relationships, and it's like that for everything. Like they use these ranks. They take it very seriously, which is kind of forgotten here in France. So it was just like, from my culture and from theirs, it was just balancing each other pretty well. So
that's nice. I think it's really important to like pick up on them signals as well. Like, I watched a lot of videos about Japan, because that's one place I want to visit. And like, there's a lot, like, especially with food, that you have to be really respectful of. Like, you don't give tips in Japan. It's really rude. You're not meant to give tips. It's like, I think it's like, I can't remember it fully, but I think it's like insulting. Like, if you try and give tips, it's like really insulting or something like that, or they get in trouble, like the waiters get in trouble, something like that. So it's really interesting that like each country is like very similar but very different, and picking up on them things I think is really important, which I always think people should either be, if they're not open-minded or don't know anything, it's good to like make sure you pick up on them things or read up about them when you go to different places.
Definitely. I had a thought as well, like, when you're picking up on those like social norms, those little differences. When I thought about like France and Korea, in France, when you greet someone, you kiss them on the cheek, right? You go up to them and hug them. Was it different in Korea? Because like, just from what I've seen in like, I don't know, K-dramas and videos, like they're not very like friendly in that like sense. So like, was there differences like in everyday, like greeting people and stuff like that?
It was, at first it was really odd. Like I was not used, like in France, it's not something that I really do often. Like, of course I do it because it's in my culture and like I don't really pick up on it. But compared to some French people, I'm not attached to that. Like if I just hug you, it's fine. If we just say hi, it's fine. I don't care. But at first that felt weird when I started meeting Korean friends that I made up pretty early in my travel. Every time that we were seeing each other and they were just staying a little bit further and they were like, hi. And then we would go and I was like, oh my God. And I found it endearing. It's nice. And now, like, after living a year in that kind of personal space that is given to you, now when I was coming back to France, I was like, oh, it's gonna be so weird to be that close to people again, because you kind of forget about that very fast. It's something that you can unlearn so quick. But it's different, but it's not like a lot of people could not like it. I didn't have an opinion about it.
Yeah. You're very like
I was
sweet.
just,
You're very sweet and you're by nature you're very nice. So I don't feel like it's something that would have shocked you as much. And also I think British people would. Do you think British people would find that weird, or do you think British people, because I feel like there's a stereotype about British people that like Londoners are like very like just go to work
Yeah,
and
standoffish.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I feel like there's like another one where it's like we're really family orientated in a way. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
Yeah.
know. British people are weird. Can't stand them. But
No.
so
I think,
anyway,
yeah. No, I think
what were you
like
saying?
how like British people would react to that, like keeping their distance and stuff. I feel like, yeah, like you said, there's like we can be very in your face, like British people just walk up to people in the street. So the culture differences between Korea and Britain could be a shock to loads of people. But yeah, like you said, like you just got to be open-minded, and you seem to have taken to it like really well. So that's nice.
So what was your favorite part then? I know you already said like you quite liked the sharing and the friendliness, but like what was your favorite part or like experience of being there in South Korea?
Like my favorite thing about there.
Yeah, like your favorite thing or your favorite memory, like both or either, whatever.
I have many, but I think um, it was learning how to. I've really enjoyed learning how to handle a relationship without being able to really communicate. Because there are stuff that are happening on a human level with that cannot compare. Because I met one of my friends very early on. I did not even have like 2 weeks of class, so I didn't know. I went without knowing how to speak anything. I knew how to say hello, thank you, and that's it. And it was so shy, and we were so timid with each other, but very attentive of each other's needs and being comfortable. And it was just like spending quality time, which is one of my favorite things. But we would not speak a lot, and we would use Papago, the translator service there, quite a lot. They would try to um, speak the little English that they knew to make an effort, and we were with my friend. We would try to make the effort back, so it was like a very sweet exchange, and we were just picking up activities to do as the time was going. And I remember that we went to a cafe and we were BTS fans, so they took us to a cafe event there. And then we started to think about karaoke, which I had never been to before. And we just went there. It was in Gangnam. And we sang for, I don't know, 2 hours, I think. we poured our hearts out, and we were singing with like Korean songs, BTS basically. I had no idea what I was singing. It was just all yogurt. But we had such a nice time. Like, it was just a bonding time that was really powerful. And there was no alcohol, there was nothing. It was just friendship, international friendship, without even being able to speak. And that was very precious to me. And seeing how, as you go, the language is improving, and that you can communicate more and learn more about each other as time is going, that was very nice.
That's really nice, because it's like, I think in a way that makes the friendship more special, because at first, like, the communication is not through literal language, it's through other means as well. And you have to, like you said, you have to be attentive to try and observe what that person is trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So I think that's really sweet.
I mean, miscommunication is kind of bound to happen. And sometimes you kind of just pretend that you get it and you didn't. And
I do that in the UK all the time.
Yeah, it's going on both parts. But there is this understanding that it is the way it is, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you cannot have a real friendship with these people. So that was really nice.
That's cute. So we spoke about what you love the most about your trip, but what did you like the least about your trip?
It's gonna
you have to say something.
I will say something, even though it's gonna sound super dumb. But it was the trees that smell like bee, you know? Like, it is something. I had no idea that some fruits could smell like that. I'm not sure at what season
fruit?
I don't know. It's a type of tree that has, I don't know if it's when the fruit is falling or whatever. It just smells like there is a ton of trash outside. And I know that, I think in Busan they hire people like to take it away so that it doesn't smell. But in Seoul, you just walk there and it smells so bad.
Oh, it's ginkgo trees.
Maybe, I have no idea.
Nutritious nuts that are tasty when cooked. Acid in the hooks produce a smell that's offensive to the nose of local residents.
Offensive. The word offensive.
It was very offensive to my nose. I'm telling you, Aisha. I'm telling you.
Trees that stink like shit. Whoa.
Yeah, no, it really smells so bad.
Oh, mad. I didn't know that.
So that was that. And
the more you know, the more you know.
And I would not say that I hated it, but the first dormitory was a surprise.
Is that the one where outside your window was a brick wall?
Yeah. So it was very small. Like, I think it was kind of the size of my room here with another room maybe. And we were both living in there, Caroline and I. It was like double bed. Can't remember yeah, exactly. And the bed was against the window, so it was already like taking out half of the light. And then the other window was through the bathroom and another small room, which was against a brick wall. So we had no light. It was a nightmare. It felt like it was not a nightmare, but it was so small. There was no light. It felt like we were being punished a little bit, even though like everything else was really good. But it was just so fun, because like after that we got to another dormitory for like half of the like the second half of the year, and that was luxury aside of it.
Yeah, you had a nice view, didn't you? That was nice.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well, at least, yeah, every
trees and
whoa, I'm not hearing.
I said at least it was only a stinky tree and a brick wall. That was the bad thing about your trip.
Yeah, I could have had it worse.
That just got me thinking as well. Like when you mentioned about the dorms and stuff, like student accommodation everywhere, you're always going to get bad places. And it also like made me think about like student life in Korea. Like how was that? Was it much different to France or your experience with student life?
Well, I think I cannot really speak about university as like casual university because I was taking a language training program, so that is very different from just doing your studies there,
Oh, okay.
which that I will be experiencing apparently next year. So if you want to have a second episode when I come back,
Stay tuned.
but it was very different. The way of learning the language and teaching the language was very different in ways I was not expecting. Because like French people are really bad at languages. It's not new. The way that we are being taught languages is really wrong. And that was a total different approach, which was very hardcore. Like it was 4 hours of Korean a day, and then you had to learn the vocabulary by heart, and you had like you were learning a grammar, and you would not see it the next day. Like you were seeing it that day, and you would never see it again. And we would just incorporate it in our language as we were going, so that you can learn how to use it properly. And you have it's making your brain understand how it's supposed to be used in the logic of the language, because like the teachers were not speaking English, so it was Korean by Koreans.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I loved it. It made me like go beyond my limits. It brought a lot of anxiety to my being. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had breakdowns in Caroline's arms before exams where I was crying because I thought that I could not make it. Because like I had never had the grades that they were, the results that they were asking us to have. Like even in France, when I was doing very good, I would never have 80 out of 100. So it was a lot of pressure, but I'm really glad that I experienced that because that changed my whole perspective about studies in general.
Good. What was it like though? Like, did you ever like? I know in like South Korea, which I would love, is like like you can just go out and there's always something to do at night as well. Like you've got 24-hour convenience stores where you can get food and all sorts. Like, what was that kind of student life like? And not just like university, but like with your friends and like going out and stuff like that.
Well, I'm not really a person that really goes out, so like I wasn't madly
You
going.
off, you liar! Oh my God! I spent a whole year never talking to you because you were always out. Why are you lying? Do not lie to me right now.
Why are you lying?
Why are you lying?
Bro, I went to the bars. Maybe I went.
She's lying. I don't know.
No, I really went out like getting drunk and stuff. I only went out in Hongdae once. And that was Corona was already there. And I was like, why am I going out, getting drunk, sleeping out and everything until 5 a.m. with people that I barely knew? At that time of the year, I was like, isn't that a little bit dangerous? But other than that, when it was just casual, like going out to eat and stuff, that was just nice. Very different from what I'm doing here. Something that you always want to do. Like I was never in my room. We were always walking around and stuff. It was never ending, and that was really, yeah, I just enjoyed it so much. Because it's nice to see that there is always something to do. There is always someone out. And what I really enjoyed is that you are always safe. I'm not saying that nothing can happen to you, but the security is mad. You don't feel, as a woman, you don't feel threatened. I could walk alone at 3 a.m. in the morning. I was not scared of being followed around. by a creep or whatever, what I noticed as well is that if there is someone coming up to you, like that happened to me a few times, not a lot, but that was really surprising to my friends. They were like, Korean men, they don't do that. But some guys approached me. The second that you say no, they go away. In France, they try. So that was nice. Like you go out and you don't really like you can live your life. You even at a club, you don't feel. I guess it depends on the kind of clubs that you are going to. But when I went to the bar, I didn't feel like I had eyes on me and that I was like just a piece of me.
That's nice. I have a very different experience in the UK. That's for sure. That's nice. I think that's one nice thing because you always had like good experiences. Like I've never heard you say like at all like you were stressed like out and about at all.
Yeah,
which is
never.
nice, which means you get out more as well.
Yeah. Because like Caroline and I, we never got scared of doing anything. Even traveling or asking someone for something in the street. Yeah, that was just, you were just living freely.
Yeah.
And that was really nice.
So let's talk about not living very freely. What was it like living in another country when the pandemic started?
Well, when the pandemic started, nobody knew what it was. It started when it was the new year, like the lunar year. So that is a big celebration for Koreans and like the Asian side in general. And we had a lot of students in my class. There were a lot of students that were Chinese. So there was this thing where it had really exploded in China. And they couldn't really, like, because of school, they couldn't really go back to their country, or if they were, we didn't know the measures that would be taken. And suddenly everyone had to wear masks, and like there was never a lockdown, like it wasn't imposed, but the measures have been taken seriously right away. So like we went from offline to online, and it was smooth. The only thing that was really annoying for us as travelers is that it was right when our holidays were starting, and suddenly we couldn't go anywhere. So Seoul was a ghost town, and that was amazing to experience, in my opinion, because like all of the foreigners, everyone just rushed out of the country. They were like, we are going back home to see our family, giving up on the trip and everything. My friend was really stressed about that. She wanted to go back so bad, and I was like, this is something that is going to be big. People from back home, they don't expect how it's going to be like yet. Like no one was taking me seriously when I was talking about that to people from back home. They were like, why are you being so dramatic, blah blah blah. And I was like, wait for it. And then now we are here anyways. But I was like, this is going to be a massive experience, and if you don't experience the city during this, you're missing out on something. And the way that Koreans have been handling this was incredible. The respect for the elders, the safety of each other, and everything. It was really nice to see. Like I was mind blown. I was like, if you have a virus like that suddenly arrives in France, and that within 2 weeks, the whole dynamic of the country is changing, and that everyone just follows the rules without questioning it and acts accordingly to prevent from the virus from spreading. That would never happen in France, and it still doesn't.
Oh god, we don't even need to talk about the UK either, because but how do you, like what kind of examples do you have, like how South Korea dealt with it differently to, like, say, France? Like, you said that there was like 2 weeks and you went straight on, like, you were like straight online and everything. But like, was there anything else? Like, you said that people just started wearing face masks. Was that like something advised or just something people did?
I think it was quite natural for everyone to put one on, because like in South Korea, there is the weather thingy with the air. They just kind of wear masks naturally in their everyday life. And if someone is sick, like it's kind of an automatic gesture that they have. So like they heard that, they wanted to protect themselves, and they just went full on with the mask right away. Before there was all of this thing about which kind of mask do you want to wear, do you have to wear, blah blah blah.
I remember you suggesting things to me.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just to me, what was really mind-blowing was to go out and see that there was no one out there. Like there was no one in the streets, and it was not mandatory for people to be staying home. Like it was advised, and everyone knew that it was the best option. But it was not the government, at least not that I knew of, saying you should stay home and you don't have a choice. If you go out, you will pay this amount. You know.
Didn't you get told off when you went out once during the pandemic? Didn't some guy say something about wearing face masks and you were like, oh my God. I remember you, and didn't you go out for food and you forgot to take on a face mask, or you'd taken it off?
Yeah,
yeah, I can't remember what it was, but I remember you mentioning it.
It was the door guy at my dormitory. I had forgotten it. I was just going to the convenience store that was like 5 meters away. And it was like, go get your mask. It's not safe out there. But like, it was not to scold me. It was just prevention. Like it was coming from a good place. So
it was a very strange experience, I suppose, when you had lived like that and then you came home to France. How was it like going from a country that was really organized with COVID and then going home to something that probably wasn't as organized?
Do I need to say?
It was really
it was a shock. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think to begin with, like the vibration of France energetically and Korea are very different. Korea has an energy that just lifts you up no matter what you do. People are very uplifting, seeing the world in a certain way. And then in France, it's the opposite. It brings you down. So the moment that I landed, I was like, this is heavy. And I had cried the whole way home. And I didn't want to go back there. And it was just a very, very, very difficult time. And seeing the measures that were not being followed, I was right away like, everyone was thinking differently. It was still this mindset of, we don't know if the masks are really effective or not. So a lot of people were not wearing them. A lot of people were, and it was just a war between the two. And then I was like, even within my family, like it was not comfortable, because they had their ideas. I had been living for 7 months under another type of code. So that was really tough. Going out in the street and seeing that everyone was just doing as they pleased without caring about anything and being rude and just it was awful. I would not recommend that experience ever. And then even like the actual lockdown of being locked up in a small space for this amount of time without having, if you want to go out, you need to sign up a paper to prove that you are not breaking the law and that you only have 1 hour to be out and take a breath of fresh air. That was, I hated it.
You kind of gone from like one country where it was really strict in terms of like we're going to do this, we're going to wear face masks, we're going to do this all right, but you still had some freedom, to a country that was not sure what it was doing. I believe this, or I don't believe this, but now all your freedom's been taken.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Korea, no matter what was happening, you have kind of your freedom. But in France, it was taken away from you. You don't have a choice, and that is really saddening.
So like looking. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, to like.
No. Yeah, don't interrupt me again. Go on.
That's fine.
She's barely speaking. Let her speak.
Oh,
she's just listening, chilling, and she's like, "When can I speak? I'm seeing you. I'm seeing you."
No, I was just gonna say, like, it sounds a bit like the difference is the attitude of the people. So, like in Korea, it was never enforced like a lockdown. You have to stay home and stuff, but people just automatically put on masks. And that guy reminded you to put on a mask, like just out of the goodness of his own heart. But in France, it's you only have an hour to leave your house and stuff. So would you say like the attitude of the people is something that's different in the pandemic as well? Like they don't really care.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think it's part of what's in your blood, you know. In France, we are revolutionaries. We like to go against our government over and over and over again, and we don't. I'm saying we as an entity. It's not my case, but we don't follow the rules. If there is a protocol, French people are going to try to do the opposite thing. They are always questioning the authority. It's not something that is really followed. And yeah, there's this superiority complex, victim complex, whatever. So there is this lack of trust between the government and the people. And everyone is just thinking their own thing, and they think that they are right without considering the opposite side. Therefore, in that, the dynamic between the people is definitely different. Because in Korea, since they follow the hierarchy. You got me. The rank between the people.
Yeah.
And they follow the rules. Like it would be stupid not to, because they are supposed to make you safe, and it's supposed to be good for you. And I think there is that common trust between, like, it's for the greater good. It's not individual. Yeah, I think that's the difference. In Korea, it's very common. Like they think about the family as a whole. Like even in their language, when they are speaking, it's not about yourself. It's not the individual. It's like they are talking about the bigger picture. It's not just you. It's like it's not your mom. It's like the mom of the family. It's so. Yeah, for that, they reacted in a way that would never be seen in France.
I feel like me and Aisha can relate to the idea of like, I mean, I don't feel like our country, Britain, we're not like revolutionaries in terms of like France, that like literally when there's a riot, like you just need one person to push someone over, and like there's like cars on fire.
Yeah.
Cars on fire in France. Like that's not like how the UK is, but like I feel like that idea of like we have had leadership which we feel has been incompetent and has led our country into two completely different places, where some people just don't have faith in the government's guidance anymore. So people are taking it upon themselves to just do what they want. And just so much has like they've said don't do this and then do this, and then people are like, oh, they're wrong, they've led us astray, they've let all these people die, they can't be right. So I feel in that way like that's been quite damaging for us with COVID-19, because no one really knows who to trust. So people are just taking it upon themselves to do whatever they want, which is also not great. So yeah, we like you said, like they think about family and the community. Here, I feel like it's like you versus everyone else. Like I don't even think people really think in this country about their family until they bring COVID home to their family, and then they want sympathy and they want support. It's very complex over here, that's for sure. It's not good at all. Yeah.
I think it's for COVID, it's something that is experienced very differently around the world for everyone. Like even Europe is bad as a whole, but then within Europe, so many people have different experiences. And then you go to the USA and then Latin America, it's like completely different. But one place that was the best, South
was
Korea.
where you were. Why?
Which is lucky, wasn't it?
I know, just a bit. So like looking back on like your whole experience, like, you know, what do you think now versus like what you thought maybe when you went into it, or what are your thoughts now that you've been away for so long? You know, how do you feel about it now?
I miss it a lot. Like it's calling me. It's I'm thinking of it as a transitional stage right now that I'm in, because like I didn't know why I went there, and I went there and I experienced amazing things, and then when I came back, it kind of went down on me. Like I had to take in that whole trip and the way it affected me, what it taught me through meeting people and stuff. And like the person that I was before going was completely different. The person that I was in, that I found myself as, was a certain type, and now it's like I grew up so much in those 6 months that I've been back here. As like personally, like my view about so many things changed, and for the better, I think. And I feel like I have experienced it in a certain way, but I would need to go back again to experience it differently with like the knowledge that I have now. Like I feel like it's not over, you know? And you just want to go back so bad. So it's what is keeping me going basically. And I would never regret taking that chance, because it was at a very weird time in my life with my studies and everything. People were telling me like, why are you not finishing up university, making sure that you don't have any chains that are holding you back here. But maybe I needed to have my chains back here to have some things that to ground me and make me see the difference within the gap. Like that was, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And I was
Yeah.
going to say, for my final part from me, was do you want to go back and do you have any plans? However, you already found out today that you get your chance to go back for a year. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm really happy about it, because it's really tough, like to have a project that you don't really know how it's gonna go, but then you don't necessarily believe in it, you know? You just kind of put it out there and you're like, is it gonna work? Is it really gonna be for me? And then everything just falls into place. And yeah, when I got that news today, I was like, oh my God. I was so happy because after 6 months of having a really tough time, that was like the light of my day.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I knew you'd get to go back. I knew you would.
I think a lot of people did. What I'm getting from people that know me is that they have never seen me as happy and true to myself and like as bright as when I was there. Everyone said that it felt like I had found my place, and a lot of people were actually very surprised that I was coming back. And that is interesting also to have like the point of view of others. But I don't know how it was for you too. Like you have met me before, both of you. I don't know how you think about me now, how I am, but I think that a lot of things changed.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of stuff has changed for you. You experienced a lot that has changed you. I think that's good because it was a lot of stuff that you hadn't realized that you needed to work through. So that's good.
Yeah.
This means, do you know what this means, Aisha? You know, Sarah's going, we're going. Next year, me and you, we're going to South Korea, boy!
2022, so gang, tour. Wake Up Podcast on tour.
Going to South Korea.
Yeah.
Gang.
I mean, you've been crying to see me for so long.
I know. We've only met in person once. We've been friends for how many years now? 5 years.
Every week, she's like, "When am I seeing you?"
I know, because I was going to visit you, and then I didn't really have money, and then the coronavirus happened. So, and then we thought it'd be over, so I thought I'd come and see you in the summer. That didn't happen. So I think now me and I should both have jobs, that we should save some money and we should go, because then we have a tour guide
and a translator. Smart.
Everything is
also as well.
Take care.
She can take care of us. She can tell us the good places, and then because I'm smart, you know, I know a vegan Korean who lives in Seoul. So food's sorted, and I want to meet the famous mum that gave me the kimchi recipe. So
it's happening. 2020
something.
Do it like me. Just put it in the air.
Yeah, we're going.
Manifesting it is happening. You heard it here first.
Listen, you're getting paid better than me, so you can definitely afford to go. Don't lie to me. I know how much money you're making now.
I'm saying it's happening. It's happening. We're going to go. It's going to be a good time. But yeah, thank you, Sarah. That was really interesting to hear your perspective about Seoul and everything and traveling. So yeah, thank you for being on the show. And I guess that brings us.
That brings us.
Thank you for inviting me, though.
No, that's all right.
Our pleasure. But yeah, I guess that brings us to our final segment, where we like to spend a good 5 minutes just to shout out a business or a charity or bring awareness to something that's happening in the world. And for this episode, since we have you on, Sarah, we thought we'd ask you, is there anything you want to promote or share to our listeners?
Well, charity for students and like schools for everyone that cannot really have access to education. I think that is still something that is very important, and like within the countries that we live in, even though they are very developed, there is still this struggle for some people. So like there is this Fondation pour l'école, which is a very nice charity that is formating teachers and helping schools that have financial issues. And what is very nice about them, like you can find the everything in English in there, and you can donate, you can become a teacher, you can do so many things with that, and I think that is very important.
So say the name again for us.
Fondation pour l'école.
That. So that's what we're raising awareness for this week. I better make sure I get that one past you on the old translation when I do my post.
I will send you the link.
Thanks.
Don't worry.
So thank you for coming and spending time with us today. And it's just really interesting, especially to hear about, you know, cultures that we don't necessarily hear a lot about in society as well, in the mainstream. You obviously hear about a lot of Western and like European countries, but never really many Asian countries, which is really nice to hear about. So thanks for coming and talking with us today.
It was my pleasure.
And we will see you in South Korea in 2022, you know?
Yeah, I'll be waiting for you, because I've been waiting this last year.
Hang on, you.
I was waiting.
She want to go. You want facts? You want facts?
Do you want
right
facts?
now?
Do you
want
want
facts? Yeah. I've been saying when we're gonna meet, and it's always you that I'm waiting on. It's always you. So don't be coming at me. When are you coming? And bruv, when do you want me to come? Nah. End this call. I'm had enough.
That's not true. You know that's not true. Don't make me sound like the bad guy.
Wow, listen, Ra, it's hard to get. It's hard to come. You know, it's dollars, isn't it?
Even now with the Brexit and everything.
Oh, don't.
They're keeping us apart. I'm telling you.
Oh, my country is a shambles. I don't want to live here anymore.
Let's see.
Let me out.
No, but honestly, thank you for inviting me and like having such lovely questions about my trip. It's really nice to share my experience. If it can like give the the thought to someone to do the same, because I think that it's very important, like at some point, to ask yourself, like, what do you want to do for yourself? Have a project and just go with it, no matter how scary it is, and like really challenge yourself on another level, because you've got some big surprise coming up for you and you don't necessarily see them coming, and that's really interesting.
I'll tell you, got big surprise coming 2022. when that plane hits the ground, I'm here. South Korea, I'm here.
The
I'm
Queen
here
has landed.
ready for me. Am I ready for South Korea? South Korea ready for me. That's all I gotta say. Listen, forget all this paparazzi for BTS. They'll be there for me.
With the light sticks and the fan chants.
Listen. You know what they'll be saying?
What?
Lucy for Fairies 2021.
Lucy for Fairies 2021. Yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode 16.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, episode 16 of the Wake Up Podcast. Who even knew we would get this far? So thank you for joining, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.